Hello, everyone, and welcome to BodyBags. I'll be your reviewer today. I'm Lonnie from Tats. I just want to take a second and really apologize for the kind of the situation that I'm in here. Yeah, I just got off work a little while ago, and it's pretty chilly outside. I get off work at 3:30 in the morning, so yeah, so had to wait for a little bit for my car to warm up and then drive home. And so yeah, so now I got the heater blasting and just trying to get warm under the comfies. So anyway, yeah, enough of that. This week is a random week, and something occurred to me here a little while back, and I reviewed a couple of the Tim Burton Johnny Depp um, collaborations. I did Dark Shadows and Sweeney Todd. Then realized, like, actually, there's a few more of these I could do, and today the one that I want to review is from 1999, and oh man, this is a good movie. I'm talking about Sleepy Hollow. Loosely based off of the Washington Irving story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And as you can see, it stars Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. And yeah, this is actually a really well done film. And the story, it's loosely based on Legend of Sleepy Hollow, but of course, the movie's directed by Tim Burton, so it's like the story was originally written by Kevin Yagher. I believe the idea was that Kevin Yagher wrote this. He was putting this together as like a project that he would direct himself, and that he wrote the story and then gave the writing duties over to Andrew Kevin Walker, who wrote 8mm and Seven, and he wrote the script, and then however it happened, Francis Ford Coppola got brought in to produce this movie, and then Tim Burton. Once I think originally the idea was that Tim Burton was going to be brought in just to be a producer on the film, but I think once he read the script and everything and decided he wanted to go ahead and you know take the director's chair himself, and so pretty much that's what ended up happening, and Tim Burton saw this as a good collaboration for him and Johnny Depp to do, and it works out really, really well. Johnny Depp is really good in this movie. The commentary on this is pretty fun to listen to. It's fun when Tim Burton can do a commentary on some of his movies. Really wish he would have done one for Beetlejuice. That would have been nice, but yeah, unfortunately that never happened. So, but anyway, we do get one on here, and one thing that was really funny was that Johnny Depp apparently was so into the idea of playing Ichabod Crane in this story, and he was, he's supposed to be such a huge fan of the Disney Legends of Sleepy Hollow cartoon, and he was going all out, and like he was like, he was trying to make himself look as much like the character from, the cartoon as he could, like he was trying to get the chins, he wanted the big, snipe nose, everything else, supposedly like, he wanted the big feet and everything, like he really wanted to make himself look like the character from the cartoon. And like he was just going all out with the makeup and all that stuff. And finally, Tim Burton had to wrangle him in and say, "No, you're not doing all that. You're not putting all that get up on and everything. Just, play it, look the way you normally would look and stuff." So that's what ended up happening. But the story, yeah, it's definitely changed. In this story, Ichabod Crane is no longer the schoolmaster. In this one, he's a detective from New York, and he's sent to the town of Sleepy Hollow to investigate a series of murders where people are getting their heads chopped off. And it turns out that now, the thing about Ichabod Crane's character in this movie is we realize, like through dreams and flashbacks, that as a young boy, his father was like a minister or a preacher, and that his mother was kind of like a good-hearted witch. And you definitely get some Mario Bava influence in this movie too. And young Ichabod witnesses his mother's torture and eventual murder at the hands of his father. And it leads him to basically turn away from religion and everything else. And he's doing that whole kind of thing where it's like, he's a man of science, and, he's just going to, he's just going to try to use like scientific techniques and everything to try to figure out who the killer is and how to apprehend the killer. And he starts doing this, but then he starts seeing things, and they start talking about, you know, you start getting into witches and all this kind of stuff, and then it turns out that yeah, actually, the story of the headless horseman is true, and that he's coming for, a lot of the citizens of Sleepy Hollow, and then it's up to him and Katrina Van Tassel, played by Christina Ricci in this movie, who she's, oh my God, is this woman gorgeous or what? But she's all, not just is she gorgeous, but she's also a very, very good actress. Okay, I mean, come on, I think we all love Christina Ricci, but and so uh, let's see, I'm trying not to give away too much, but yeah. So anyway, so just the movie is really, really good, and you get some really good special effects, and you have basically an all-star cast in this film. Not just Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci, but you have Miranda Richardson, you have Michael Gough, from Hammer movies and Amicus movies, and he played Alfred in Tim Burton's Batman movies. You have Michael Gambon, Dumbledore from Harry Potter. You got Ian McDiarmid, Palpatine from Star Wars. Jeffrey Jones, well, let's not really talk about him. Casper Van Dien is Brahm. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Headless Horseman. I can't believe I forgot about that. Now, before, when he's just the Haitian warrior, uh, the Haitian warrior is actually Christopher Walken. But when he becomes the Headless Horseman, because they needed, like somebody who could do like fighting and stunts and acrobatics, when he becomes the Headless Horseman, it's actually played by Ray Park, who everybody will remember as Darth Maul from The Phantom Menace and from other Star Wars and everything else. But so it turns out that that's kind of the whole story. A lot of the story too is like, Johnny Depp's character Ichabod is he's, like I said, he doesn't really believe in like witchcraft or any of that kind of stuff. He's very much into scientific methods and using calculations and things like this to try to solve crimes and everything. But he starts experiencing things and seeing things that he can't just explain away. So so it's that kind of a thing, where like the atheist, the skeptic, ends up becoming, ends up having to become a believer whether they want to or not. When they start seeing supernatural things going on. Let's see what else. Another thing is though too that's really great about this movie is like, yeah, you definitely get the Tim Burton style in it. You definitely get the Tim Burton look in it. And I mean, yeah, Tim Burton, you could tell he definitely put his creativity into this movie, and his fingerprints are all over this film. And but also too, one thing I thought that was really interesting was Tim Burton's approach to this movie, in that he decided, um, he came, he said like his idea was like he wanted to do basically take Sleepy Hollow and do it like as if Hammer had made this movie, because as we all know, like back in the old days, like Hammer had done their version of classic horror stories. They did their version of Dracula and the Mummy and Frankenstein, Wolfman, all that other kind of stuff and everything. And he's like, yeah, they never did. They've done like their version of Jekyll and Hyde and all these different classic horror stories and things like this, but they never did the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And so that ended up being a lot of inspiration for Tim Burton. Was he's like, I want to do this movie as if Hammer decided to do their version of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And you could definitely tell this movie definitely has, like I said, not just the Tim Burton approach and style and feel to it. You can definitely tell it definitely has a Hammer vibe. You definitely get, like some of the, maybe not so much the earlier Hammer movies, but like some of the later movies, stuff like Captain Chronos Vampire Hunter or something like that. But you definitely get the look and the vibe of it. Also, too, this movie looks really pretty sweet in black and white. So just, an idea if you ever want to check it out. This actually looks really good in black and white. But let's see. But yeah, but also too, like I said, there's a very strong like Mario Bava influence to it. You definitely get a little bit of like Black Sunday and stuff, in this movie. Um, but yeah, just overall, this movie's really good. The performances are really good. Johnny Depp, he's one of my favorite actors, and so he's so good in this film, and that's one of the things though too is like I said, it's like he was so determined that he wanted to play this as much like the cartoon character as he possibly could. And so, he's playing, he has no problems acting like a coward. He has no problems playing, a chicken shit in this movie. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. It's like there are moments like where it's like like it looks like somebody's coming to attack them or something like that. It's like Christina Ricci will be standing beside him. He'll actually like get behind her, and stuff like that. Or he'll sit there like he'll scream like a girl and faint or something like that. It's like just his performance is so much fun to watch, and he's surrounded by just amazing talent. And I mean, everything about this movie works. Danny Elfman's score is, really, really fantastic. It bugs me that Waxwork Records, put the soundtrack to this out on vinyl, and by the time I found out about it, or by the time I looked into it, it's already been sold out. So yeah, this really would have been a soundtrack I really would have loved to have had, but just yeah, I definitely recommend this, especially if you're a fan of the story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And this isn't for kids though. This isn't Disney. It's definitely for adults, and it's just so well done. You get some really good special effects. Do get quite a bit of blood and gore in this actually too. And that was one of the things though too. Is like Tim Burton says in the interviews and in his commentary and stuff like that. It's like it's like yeah, my goal in this movie was to drench Johnny Depp in as much blood as I could. And there's a lot of scenes where Johnny Depp's like always getting bloodshot on him. He's like being drowned in it and stuff like that. So it's pretty fun. But anyway, so yeah, Sleepy Hollow. And actually, I'm kind of surprised that it's like I was really, really happy, because I actually wanted to review this a while back, and I just figured, honestly, I didn't really go for it. I'm finally glad I pulled the trigger on when found out actually this had never been done in the history of body bags. I figured somebody would have done this one already, but anyway, so glad to finally get this one, and be able to do it myself. So yeah, Sleepy Hollow, trust me, you're not going to be disappointed. And it's definitely rated R. And let's see, yeah, it is rated R. Yeah, okay, it's rated R. And one thing I will say though too, before closing this out, one thing I think is actually really interesting about this. Now, usually, like, Tim Burton usually puts horror into a lot of his movies and this, but usually a lot of his stuff is pretty horror light, and a lot of times like his stuff usually has more comedic flair to it, like Beetlejuice or Dark Shadows or something like that. But this is one of the few times this and both both Sleepy Hollow and Sweeney Todd are pretty much like about the only two times really where Tim Burton really like made a movie and decided to just kind of really go more into the horror. So this is kind of more hardcore than what you're used to seeing in a Tim Burton movie. Like I said, usually you're mostly used to seeing him do like the kind of like horror, light horror kind of blended with comedy. But this one here is like, yeah, this one, you're going to be surprised by it. But anyway, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's such a good movie, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. So that's it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, would you please leave it a like? If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to the BodyBags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. I'm the Saturday reviewer, and we have a bunch of great guys. Everybody's doing fantastic stuff. And yeah, just again, sorry, just I had to get home and get the heater turned on, get under the covers. I promise. Next time, my video will look a lot more professional. So that's it, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you later.